I'll forget. And speaking of, I need to send Sharon the recording from last night, so let me do that.
Thanks.
Yeah. And it looks like people are coming in here. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. Feel free to say hello to us in the chat. You all should have access to the chat. If at the very end you want to get on audio and video to ask a question, you can use the raise your hand function on Zoom. But we'll wait till the end to do that. So in the meantime, feel free to just communicate with us in the chat. Tell us things that you're excited about or curious about. Just let us know your thoughts and we'll make sure to respond to those. As an FYI, this event is being recorded and we'll get started in just a minute. We're going to give people some time to come on in. Awesome. I'm seeing people pop in and Sharon saying hello in the chat. And if when you're communicating with folks, make sure you select all panelists and attendees so your fellow attendees can communicate with you too. Awesome stuff. And as you can see, Sharon's in the library right now, and behind her, she has all her Citizen Science Month materials. Sharon, do you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, I do. And welcome everybody to the Waldport Library and to the Sunriver Observatory with Bob and to Citizen Science with Caroline. I'm so happy that they could be here today. We had an event with Bob in January that a few people were able to go to, and I wish everybody could have because it was remarkable. So I have just as high of hopes for tonight. That's a lot of pressure, I know, but I think it's going to be awesome, especially the topic. We have Citizen Science Month this month, all month, and we're doing lots of things. And right now, I just want to show you a special book that you might want to consider on your list, since we're talking about light pollution. Let's see, there it is. It's called The World Atlas of Light Pollution. All of these books are new books to the library about different topics that you could help in. So that being said, you can see behind me, we're doing a lot of things left. This is our last webinar for the month, but there are big things coming up. Remember to consider working with Solve this weekend for collecting marine debris and documenting it. And thank you for everything you do, everybody, and come in and see us soon. Now we're going to get started because Bob has some great things to show us, and then Caroline is going to wrap it up to tell you how you can work this with Citizen Science. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, over to you, Bob. It looks like
I want to unmute myself. There we go. Well, welcome everyone. I'm happy to be joining you at least virtually from Sunriver. We had some beautiful sky tonight. We're going to open the observatory a little bit later, but I wanted to spend some time talking about citizen science projects, and in particular Globe at Night, and also the International Dark Sky Association. Sunriver is unique in the sense that it is the only location in Oregon that has been officially identified as a dark sky community. And that happened last year in 2020. So during the pandemic year, of course, so it's kind of interesting. But I want to talk a little bit about that and show you some interesting pictures from Sunriver and kind of give you an idea of how you can be involved in protecting the night sky and how you can even save money doing it. It's an interesting concept. Light pollution is one of the few things that we can actually, turn a switch and fix the problem. It's just educating folks about what is going on. So I'm going to share my little PowerPoint here. I hope this works. So hopefully you're seeing my little dark sky.
We do.
Okay, perfect. So as a member of the International Dark Sky Association, I've been really interested in protecting the night sky. Obviously, as an astronomer, dark sky is really important to us. And I actually grew up in a major metropolitan area in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we saw about 6 stars when I was growing up. So when you go to the mountains and you see the night sky, it's very, very different. And living in Central Oregon, we're very fortunate here. Even though Bend and Redmond are growing quite a bit, we still have dark sky here. And really, the beauty of the dark sky is, I think, has inspired people for many, many, many years. And one of the advantages we have here in Oregon is that we're able to see the night sky. And I know at the coast, when there's no fog and you can get into the away from city lights, you can see the night sky. I was just telling the folks here, you know, I go to Waldport and I go to Yachats, and always bring a telescope with me, not just to look for whales and stuff like that, but also to enjoy the night sky. And there are places where you can see quite a bit. And this is kind of showing the night sky, the Earth at night. And this is a real telling sign. Most of the population of the world live in light polluted areas. And you can kind of see in the map, the East Coast is a horrible place in the United States to look at the night sky, because there's not really a dark sky location available. And you can certainly see in Europe, not a great place to view the night sky either. And we'll take a little closer look here. Light pollution is a big deal. Those of you that have been to cities, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, those areas, certainly light pollution is a big deal. My mom used to live down in Phoenix, and I was always baffled by how much light pollution there was in Phoenix. It's just, and then you go to Flagstaff, which is an area where they're protecting the night sky, or Tucson, where they're protecting the night sky. It's a huge difference. So it is something that we can work with and help solve the problem of light pollution. And looking at the night sky is kind of an interesting concept. And most of you have all watched the sun go down and watched the stars come out. But the glare from lights destroy the view of the night sky. And so lighting is a very crucial component of what we're trying to do when we talk about citizen science, or we're talking about IDA or Globe at Night. It's about trying to understand the night sky and how we can protect it. And it's not about just astronomers, you know, trying to protect the night sky. It's more about energy and protecting wildlife. So I want to spend a little time talking about that, because most subdivisions that you see are poorly lighted. This is a good example of light just spilling everywhere and not really having any type of light control at all. And there's a lot of consequences to light pollution. And one of the things that we like to talk about is the ecological impacts. One of the things that we don't really worry so much about here on the West Coast, but certainly on the East Coast, with sea turtles. When they're hatched, they light from the shoreline distracts their direction of which way to go. And so this is a big thing. They have been doing more and more in Florida in trying to dim the lights along the coast, especially the condos and what have you, and doing different type of downlight. So the turtles have a fighting chance to find their way to the sea. Birds are another big thing. One of the big thing about 9/11 Memorial was the big lighted towers and how it messed up the birds, and how they were getting lost. They were flying around in this light. And in Las Vegas is another place where birds get very confused at night because of the artificial light messes up their migration, and they fly towards the light and get lost. And then they use up all their energy trying to get themselves out of that light beam, if you will. And also trees. We see this a lot in California. We see a lot in Oregon, especially in the Willamette Valley, where artificial light makes trees bud earlier, and they also lose their leaves later because of the artificial light. And so this is studies that have been going on for many years, trying to understand how the impact of artificial light affects the natural world too. And of course, energy is important to all of us, and certainly the dollars and cents of it. There's a lot of money being wasted on lighting areas that don't need to be lit at all. And it's kind of a misnomer thinking more light is better. That's not always true. It's more about better light. Certainly human health is a certain part of light pollution that we're interested in, and understanding how it affects the hormones that regulate our sleep cycle. That's a really important thing. The American Medical Association has been studying lights, especially LED, for a long period of time, and had some good results in trying to understand how artificial light can mess up sleep habits. And then certainly the heritage, especially in the United States, of dark sky. And matter of fact, the state parks, Oregon State Parks, in Prineville. So those of you that are familiar with the state park over there, they are going to working to becoming a dark sky site. Another one, the first park in Oregon that has actually registered to become a dark sky site. We're helping them do that. They also have an observatory there too, but they are one of the first places in Oregon. And certainly the U.S. Park Service learned very much in their research for people coming to visit, that one of the things that people really love about going to national parks is the dark sky. And a lot of park rangers are doing astronomy type programs at those national parks, but really the dark sky is a big component of the natural wonder of our parks. And certainly the dark skies have inspired many people through human history. And I'm sure you've all gone camping and looked at the night sky and looked at the wonders. What amazes me working at an observatory is the fact that very few people that come to the observatory have actually seen the Milky Way. And that is kind of stunning for someone like me who lives in a place where we see it on every night that the moon's not around. So it's fascinating to understand how people view the night and look at stars and try to understand. And one of the things that it turns out that people are spending more time out on their own and doing activities at night, learning to find constellations. And this is one of the things that I really like about the citizen science component and the globe at night idea, is that trying to understand and pick out constellations. And it's one of the best things that I think the observatory does in Sunriver is actually do night tours and showing the constellations. It's kind of a fun thing because people always want to find the belt of Orion, or they want to see Scorpio or Leo the lion, and how do you get that picture? And I think there's some really neat applications out there for doing that. It's a really, lighting is also about safety. And one of the things that we find in rural Oregon out where I'm at is people light everything everywhere, and they think that protects all their belongings. But as it turns out, bad lighting actually makes it tougher. I don't know if you can see the intruder over there behind the fence, but better lighting allows you to see better things and more protect your own property. So using lighting correctly is what the IDA is really interested in educating folks, is saving energy, giving better lighting so that you can live safer and also save money, which is always a good thing. This is a neat little map showing the light pollution. And if you stare at the West Coast and the Oregon coastline, you can see even the Oregon coast is growing at a very fast rate. And so in 2025, there's going to be very few places in the United States that are going to be dark. But if you look at Central Oregon, you can see it's still one of the few places that is very, very dark. And certainly California, where I grew up, is a different scenario. In Florida, New York, all those areas, they're pretty much past the point of no return. However, what you're looking at is a map showing light being sent to space. Well, there's nothing in space that we need to worry about. I don't think there's, lighting up aliens is not going to help us at all. So you want to point the light down. If we can point the light down, we can save energy, we can protect the night sky, and also help protect wildlife and other natural biology on our planet. And dark sky is kind of a big thing. Using a sky meter is a way to measure the darkness. Globe at Night has a nice part of their website where you can see where areas that have dark skies. They're actually a measurement for this to kind of understand what our dark skies are. There are many clubs throughout the state of Oregon and throughout the Northwest that do astronomy star parties, and they're always wondering about, oh, you have one there? Sharon's waving one around. Is that what that is? Yeah, so that's very cool. And this statistic just blows me away. Only 2 out of 10 people see the Milky Way. 99% of the United States and Europe live under light polluted skies. That to me is a mind-boggling statistic, and how fortunate those of us that get to look at the night sky actually get to enjoy it. It just absolutely amazes me that the amount of people that come to the observatory. One of my favorite stories is, having people come from Los Angeles and staying in Sunriver, and they see the Milky Way and they're going, wow, I wish our night sky looked like that. And we try to explain to them, it does, you just can't see it. And that's one of the reasons why I like talking about the earthquake in LA. Not that I like earthquakes, because that's not what I'm dealing with there, but it was only in Northridge when the earthquake happened and power went out. The number one phone call to 911 was, what was the big fuzzy thing in the sky? And it turns out it was a Milky Way. Most people had not seen it, but when the lights went out in Northridge, they could see the Milky Way in LA. So that was the number one thing that people were calling 911 about, was this glow in the night sky, because they had never seen it before. So we can all make a difference. It can be done at home. This is one of the reasons why I like the whole citizen science program. It's something we all can contribute and make a difference. And light pollution has a simple solution. It's really just better design, better lighting. Now, I know some of you have gone down Highway 1 or 101 and pull into a gas station, and there's all this light pointing down, really bright light. And, that is not necessarily necessary. It's managing light and better design is the way we can help solve the light pollution problem. And shielding is the number one way of dealing with it. So this is not an expensive solution. It's either change the light to like an LED type light, or shield the lights that we currently have and have them pointing down. And also color temperature. This is the great advantage of LED lighting. Not only is it energy efficient, it also, we can control temperature of lights, and brightness in some areas. Bright white is great for kitchens and workspaces, and it's certainly warm light is good and relaxing for different things, more like an incandescent light that we're all very familiar with. And lighting ordinances are part of it. Now, Deschutes County, where I live in Bend, we do have a lighting ordinance. It's not very well enforced. That's one of the reasons why Sunriver is unique, because Sunriver, when it was developed over 50 years ago, one of the main concepts of Sunriver was to point all the lights down. Had nothing to do with lighting ordinance. It had nothing to do with protecting the night sky. What they wanted to do is keep nature part of everyone's daily life. So they wanted to leave animals, they wanted trees, but they also wanted to protect the night sky. So when it came up with the IDA to protect the night sky, we didn't have to change any regulation in Sunriver because they were already in place. And so that's what made it very unique. And there are certain lighting fixtures that have that work really well for protecting the night sky. The IDA has a group of fixtures, and I know other internet resources have tons of different fixtures that have shields. Certainly the Citizen Science Program has lots of references to where you can use lighting and shield lighting. We actually did a local brewery had lights exposed, had these little string lights going across their little eating area, and they took their cans, beer cans, cut them in half and shielded the light with beer cans. It was kind of a neat way of reusing beer cans. And the International Dark Sky Association, you certainly can find them on the web, and they are very active throughout the world trying to help educate folks about protecting the night sky. So it's not just the United States. It's Europe is a big component. They are doing a great job of finding places throughout the world where we can help protect the nighttime environment. And one of the things that I want to kind of dive into is this idea of light pollution is one of the few pollutions, if you will, that we can actually deal with pretty easily. Is it inexpensive? It can be dealt with at local level, and it is something that it's about educating people about what quality lighting is. So what I wanted to show you, just a couple of quick slides of what Sunriver looks like. So most of you may have been to Sunriver or heard of Sunriver, and Sunriver is a unique community because it was developed 50 years ago, like I mentioned, to protect nature, and that was its big thing. And to kind of give you an idea, this is the Sunriver Mall. You can see all the lighting is pointing straight down, and this is what's required. This wasn't because of the observatory. It was just required early on in the building 50 years ago when they were building this thing. And all the buildings, the lights cannot expose any kind of illumination up above into the sky. And so even when they built the new highway overpasses on 97 in Sunriver, they actually shielded the lights on the highway to help protect the night sky. And you can see even the new buildings, you can see all the lights are pointing down. And these are very simple light fixtures that work very, very easily. And they're just designed to point the light where it's needed. This is actually a 50-year-old fixture. I had to take a picture of this to show you. This was the original lighting in the mall in Sunriver. And you can see it had a little dome with a light on top. So it was still shielded, even though it's an ancient fixture. Most of these have been replaced in Sunriver. And this is the resort. Sunriver Resort has a big area there, and they also have some very old fixtures. But once again, all the light is pointing straight down. You can see there a walkway near the Great Hall. All the light fixtures are fine for the walkways and the parking lots, but they're all not allowing light to spill to the sky. And this is just out front of the Great Hall there in Sunriver. And their walkways, everything is protected. This is a fairly new fixture, certainly something you could use at home. It's a very simple, inexpensive light fixture. And even the ones on the front of the Great Hall under the eaves are all pointing straight down. So this is a very effective way of using light to help protect the night sky. Even the street lights are designed to point straight down. Notice on top, there's a little bubble, though that is for the light only comes on when it gets dark and turns off when it gets light. So it does have a sensor on them. The newest lighting fixtures here for the Owners Association, you can see have a little can around it, similar to the beer can idea that I talked about, but they have a little molding. The local power company put those in so you can see that the light is pointing down and not outwards. This is a Sunriver Fire Department at night. You can see once again, just another good example of light going down. And of course, for us, for the observatory, all of our light fixtures are pointing down. Now, I have to admit, we don't use white light around the observatory. And I should also mention, showing this picture, it's kind of funny because I just left the observatory a little while ago and heading back over there. If you were to come back and see this today, well, there's a big, huge dump truck in front and a bunch of chain link fence. We're actually building our new expansion project at the observatory. So next time we get together, hopefully I can show you new pictures of our new expansion. But all of our area lighting here is, once again, parking lot lighting, all pointing down. And the walkway lights towards the nature center, these are $25 light fixtures that we got from Wayfair. Very inexpensive, super efficient for doing what we want to do, which is keep that light pointing down. And of course, at night, this is what it looks like at the observatory with the lights coming straight down. You can see the walkways are pretty well illuminated. If you're looking at the little purple glowy things on the bottom, that's actually people's admission ticket for the observatory, so we can find out who's there. So everyone's feet are a little radioactive in this picture. And our amphitheater, once again, all the light is pointing down, and we do special presentations. So about a 250 seat amphitheater with lighting that's all points down. And this is really to protect the night sky. This is the front of the observatory taken last year when we had the comet. Neowise, you may have heard about that one. This was taken with Neowise with the observatory in the background. The red light is for the observatory to protect people's vision as they come through, so they don't be looking at white light all the time. And I'll just show you a couple more pictures from inside the observatory. But the beautiful Milky Way overhead. So once again, the little blue purple things are people's admission tickets as they come through the observatory. And this is just another shot of the Milky Way. But I just want to share a few pictures with you of the night sky in Sunriver. Sunriver, like I said, very unique in some respects with having a full observatory, but really the protection of the night sky started with the early development of Sunriver and not really because of the fact that the observatory was there. And this is looking down during the day of the observatory with the dome and the roll-off roof with the telescopes out back, just kind of give you an idea of what our setup looks like. And the new building, where that big shrubbery is there by the door, that's where the new building is going in, another roll-off roof that like you see there. And this is a picture taken from the observatory of the Andromeda Galaxy, just kind of give you an idea of the type of sky that we have and the types of views that we get to our telescope, and made possible because of our fortunate community that thought many years ago to protect the sky so we can see these wonders. I will mention the reason I like showing this picture in Sunriver on a dark night, you can actually see this naked eye. You don't need a telescope. That's how dark our skies are. So we're very fortunate to be able to share with the public the beauty of the night sky by having the ability to protect our night sky and be able to see things that most people don't ever get a chance to look at. So I thought I would end there and turn this over to Caroline. And we certainly can take some questions at the end here.
Well, actually, I think we have some good questions we could take right now if you're okay with it.
Sure.
Really good question in the chat. Is warm light best for outside?
Say that again.
Is warm light best for outside?
Warm light is better for certain applications. I would say certainly for indoor, warm lighting seems to work a little bit better. We use a lot of actually very high Kelvin rated lighting for our workspaces. It kind of becomes a personal preference, but certainly for down lighting, the warmer light is better. Got
it. And another question we got, Magnus and Vera asked, what do you mean by a dark sky?
What do I mean by dark sky? That's a great question. So dark sky, at least from my definition, is being able to see the stars. So if you can look up in a parking lot and see a handful of stars versus hundreds of stars, that is kind of the comparison. If you're in a major metropolitan city, you might see 5 or 6 stars total in the night sky. If you're in a parking lot, say like by Walmart, where you have a lot of lighting, you might be able to see a dozen or 2 dozen stars. But if you turn off all those lights or get away from the city lights, you can see hundreds and hundreds of stars. And so when we talk about dark sky, you're seeing hundreds of stars when it's dark outside. In other words, no full moon and no fog or clouds or anything like that, but you can actually see a lot of stars. You should be able to see the Milky Way on a moonless night. That would be ideal. And so that's kind of IDA's description of a dark sky, is where you can actually see the Milky Way from your location.
I think that's really good. I've never seen the Milky Way. I'm part of that group that.
You gotta come to Oregon.
I know. Oh, so
it's not just Oregon. Certainly, you're in Arizona, right?
No, I'm actually in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Oh, so you got a little ways to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to see the Milky Way. It's a beautiful sight, and for me, it's when I was really young and lived in California, we couldn't see the Milky Way from where I was growing up, but we'd go to the mountains, Lake Tahoe or something like that, and the Milky Way would just be astonishing. It's a bright cloud that goes across the sky, and certainly in the summer, it is just a breathtaking thing to look at. You don't need a telescope. You can enjoy it without it. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And we also have another question from Magnus and Vera. They want to know, do you have to pay to visit the observatory? And if we were to go there, are children allowed to look through the telescope?
There you go. Great question. So this is a COVID thing that I have to talk about right now. We have limited capacity, so we are doing admissions to the observatory that do limit our capacity. So that's kind of a bummer. So yes, you do have to pay to get into the observatory. You can do a private group. So a lot of people don't want to be around other people nowadays. So we actually do a couple nights of private groups, and those range in pricing. But for a public program, it's about $20 per person. However, that said, we have a setup with our local library where they can check out a pass and get in for free. So when the COVID thing is over and we can allow a little bigger capacity, we will make more passes available through the library system and allow people to check out, just like you would a book. You could check out up to 4 passes, and so you can bring your family at no cost, and that's a great way to do that.
That is awesome. And thank you again for your presentation. And the one part, so I'd never considered the fact that light pollution could just not be in a place. The fact that you brought up the example that after a natural disaster, all the lights going out make it so people can see the night sky. I guess I had been erroneously, without realizing it, thinking of light pollution as something like plastic pollution that's always there. But I mean, if we all decided one afternoon we're going to fix all the streetlights today and all the other sources of light pollution, by that night, right, we'd be able to see the night sky.
Right. So it's really not turning off the lights, it's putting them down. So you don't have to just completely, eliminate lighting. That's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to shield them so it doesn't expose the night sky. Because, I mean, you need lighting to be safe. There's no question about that. But just quality lighting, good lighting is key. And I'm hoping that when people leave this presentation, and when they'll drive around their local town, they'll see the difference between good lighting and bad lighting. And it's great to see communities be aggressive with new construction, with using better lighting. Certainly LED has become more and more popular, and they're much more energy efficient than incandescent or halogen lighting. So that saves on people's pocketbooks too. I know there are towns like in Tampa, Florida, for example, a lot of the street lights have been changed over now to LED. So for savings, not only do they last longer, they're just more energy efficient. So the cost is less for the city.
That's awesome. I had no idea Tampa was a role model in that regard. I'll have to drive on over.
They're just moving forward. Yes.
They're pretty close to me. I'll report back, Sharon. I'll go visit.
Yeah,
Tampa.
let me know if it improves. Hopefully you'll be able to see the Milky Way, but that's a big town. So, but at least they're looking at from a cost saving standpoint. And it's true with everyone at home. I mean, an LED light bulb is much more, lasts longer than an incandescent bulb and uses less energy. So therefore it saves you money and lasts longer. And that also saves you money since you don't have to replace it as often.
Awesome. And I think Sharon actually has something to share with us. Sharon, if you want to unmute and tell us about it.
Thank you. I wanted to let you know, I showed it sort of earlier, but we are putting together kits that are on topics of citizen science, and one of them is about the light. And we have some of these great devices, 3 of them, and they're going to be in different kits. And in the kits, you'll have things like this. We're also looking at the constellations. And I believe that it said that we need red light flashlights that are useful for when you're walking around, aiming them down. And they'll be also for looking for like zombie flies and things like that affect bees, because the light pollution has a huge impact on bees, from what I've been reading. And so there'll be ways to keep track of it, and you'll be able to check it out, and you will be responsible for this kit. So it means it all has to come back on time so other people can enjoy it too. But that's just one of the few kits we're going to do. And I think it would be a great thing. Like, say, if you were getting ready to go on a short weekend trip over to Sunriver and you wanted to check out the sky there, or you were going to Portland and wanted to see the difference, you could borrow one of these kits and you could check out the sky.
I think that's awesome. I think that's the perfect segue for me to talk about Globe at Night, because I have a few slides about those kits, which is perfect. So, hey everybody, I'm Caroline. I'm a program manager at SciStarter. Our main job at SciStarter is to connect people like you all to real science that you can do. And the basic premise of why SciStarter exists is millions of people enjoy science and nature. Thousands of scientists need volunteers. Sometimes they can't find each other. So that's where SciStarter comes in. We connect them. We connect you to the real science you can do. So researchers add their projects to SciStarter when they want passionate people like you to be able to discover it. And you can come to SciStarter and make a SciStarter account when you're looking for ways to turn your curiosity about the world into real impact. So with the Globe at Night project, the project we're talking about tonight, you just by going outside, following their protocols, if you don't have access to a kit, you can still participate. You just don't fill in those questions that have the sky quality meter portion. But just by using your own eyes and looking up and indicating which stars you're able to see in certain constellations, you're able to help researchers understand what's going on in our world. You're able to help them answer really important questions, which I think is really cool. And it's not just astronomy. Astronomy is one of the coolest topics ever. But there's also health research that you can do with citizen science and environmental research in terms of things like plastic pollution. You can study water quality with citizen science. And I know Sharon and Sue have you covered at their library. They are delving into so many different types of citizen science projects. I mean, this Saturday, you all have the opportunity to do the debris tracker project while you're on a community cleanup. As you're picking up different and safely disposing of things like plastic bottles or cigarette butts or whatever you encounter on your cleanup, you can log that data, indicate how many and what type of debris you're picking up into the Marine Debris Tracker app. And then researchers are able to use that data to have an informed understanding of what's going on the ground and to think about different data-driven solutions. So a cleanup is, half of it's a beautiful thing to do, but it's kind of half of the solution. The other half is figuring out where the hotspots are and how we could potentially prevent it. And that's what you can contribute to with citizen science. You can create that understanding. I'm gonna make sure I'm sharing my sound. I always forget to do that part. Okay. So citizen science, it's a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. And you're participating in citizen science whenever you collect or analyze data for an ongoing research project, or whenever you do anything to move science forward. And anyone of any age, anywhere in the world can be a citizen scientist. There's definitely a project out there for you that matches your interests and allows you to be a meaningful part of the scientific process. And SciStarter, we're here to help. There are over 3,000 different citizen science projects, events, and tools that people have added to SciStarter for you. But don't take it from me, we have this video for you to give you a brief introduction to what citizen science is and what SciStarter is.
Did you know that people just like you are shaping science and their future through small but important actions? That's right. You don't need a lab coat. You don't need a science degree. We're not talking about kids' chemistry kits or build a rocket activities. We're talking about real science we can do together. How can I do that, you might be wondering? The answer is easy. Become a citizen scientist. Citizen science is all about people like you and me getting involved in things that matter to us, like the environment, our health, oceans, and even space. Science needs more eyes, ears, and perspectives than any single scientist possesses.
Together, we get to make discoveries. We can make a difference by making and sharing our observations, analyzing data, or even playing a game to solve a problem. Want to learn more about citizen science? A movement that's sweeping the globe? You're in the right place. There's a lot of great material here to get you started and help you find, join, and participate in projects through SciStarter.org. Visit the SciStarter website to begin exploring the possibilities of scientific participation. And create a personal account to receive project suggestions tailored especially for you. Together with SciStarter, we can all play a part in scientific research that can change the world for the better.
So there you have it. That was SciStarter, a basic intro. And we fully recognize that it can be a little overwhelming to have 3,000 projects, events, and tools to discover. So that's why we love working with libraries so much with folks like Sharon, because they're able to narrow the focus a little bit and select projects they know are going to resonate with their community and to give you kind of a clearer pathway with how you can get started. So tonight's featured project is the Globe at Night project. And you learned from Bob about why light pollution is such a serious issue and also why the night sky is so beautiful. I mean, I love the pictures he had of it. And the Globe at Night project allows you to take an active role in studying this problem. So here's a video prepared by the project. The project leader wrote it, and I think she had one of her interns read the script. So I'll go ahead and play it.
What if a starry night sky had never inspired Van Gogh to paint Starry Night, or Holst to compose The Planets? The loss of something that has had a positive influence on our culture for thousands of years can change how we view the world. But if change happens slowly over time, will we even realize what we've lost? Citizen science is a rewardingly inclusive way to learn about important issues like the disappearing starry night sky, its causes and solutions. Globe at Night is an international campaign to raise awareness of the impact of light pollution by having citizen scientists measure night sky brightness and submit their observations from their own computer or mobile device. The data is used to monitor levels of light pollution around the world, as well as learn about the impacts of light pollution on energy consumption, plants, wildlife, and human health. Globe at Night campaigns are held each month, span 10 days, and take place when the moon is not up. You can participate by going to globeatnight.org/webapp on your smartphone. Measurements should be taken more than 1 hour past sunset. The first step is to record when your observations were made. The second step is to record where your observations were made. The third step is to locate the current constellation of the month and select the chart which best represents the faintest stars visible in that constellation. The fourth step is to record sky conditions at the time of observation. For example, was it clear or cloudy? The fifth step is optional. You can input data from a sky quality meter if you have one. The final step is to click Submit to send in your data. Your data will then be visible on the Globe at Night data map, and you will have access to it to use for science projects. Scientists worldwide, thank you. What if a...
Okay, and there you have it. That was Globe at Night. So I checked. We're technically not in a Globe at Night campaign right now. It just passed. You could still go out and contribute. They just really, really want you to focus on the campaign times. And the basic premise is light pollution impacts human health, the environment, and the beauty of the night sky. And we can make a difference for this issue by understanding the problem better with the Globe at Night project. So if you're looking for an easy way to get started, go to scistarter.org/NLM. Those are our Citizen Science Month featured projects, of which Globe at Night is one. And there are step-by-step instructions there and everything you need to get started with Globe at Night. And one cool thing about this project is it's a SciStarter affiliate. So that's one tool we provide to people who have SciStarter accounts. If you can track the number and frequency of your contributions to different SciStarter affiliate projects in your SciStarter dashboard. So this could give you bragging rights. If you need evidence of volunteer work, this can give you evidence of volunteer work across platforms. And this is especially important for the Globe at Night project because they actually don't keep track of your specific contributions. They don't collect that data. You just, when you contribute to Globe at Night, you put your SciStarter email in there, and then everything tracks. So that's the only way you actually have of getting credit for Globe at Night contributions. And it looks like it's loading. Come on, slide deck, don't let me down. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, give my computer a break. Someone asks, is there an app? No, it's just a mobile-friendly website. Okay. I just have to reload my slides. There we go. Okay. So the slides I have tonight were actually created by the leader of the project, Dr. Connie Walker, for an event she did earlier this month. And I only picked a selection of them. I didn't pick the entire event. Oh, and I see Sue's puppy in the frame. Oh my gosh. It makes my favorite part of Zooms are when you see people's pets. So I encourage, if anyone has a pet with them, bring them into the Zoom frame. That's my favorite part. But if you want to watch Dr. Walker's presentation in full, it's available on the SciStarter YouTube channel. So she posed some questions at the start of the event. So she asked, what kind of sky would you have living in big cities? And she also framed the problem. I know Bob did this really well and educated us already, but we should care about light pollution. And I love, Bob, that you mentioned the Tampa aspect, the fact that leaders in Tampa are not because, people want to have a view of the night sky, which is, great, but also because they care about the cost. I think it's really a win-win there to take action on light pollution. But if we care about human health, which I think we all do, we're all humans. If we care about wildlife, if we want to see the night sky, and if we want to save money, let's take action on light pollution. And I think that's such a good, like Bob said, it's really important to have the lights point down. I wish I could take you all on a walk right now through my neighborhood, but there's this, before we got on the line, I was walking around thinking about what I was going to say tonight, and there's this egregious street light on my street that just points directly up into the night sky. It couldn't point more up if it tried. So I'm going to look into what I need to do for my own neighborhood to potentially take action on that. But there are some really egregious street lights out there, I will say. So it'd be great if they all pointed down. So what is Globe at Night? You can participate if you're aged 8 and up, but younger folks can participate, with a parent, guardian, or trusted adult. They have 10-day campaigns. That's when they really want your data, but you can contribute outside of that. They'll just note that in the data because you'll say when you did it, and they'll know it's not in a campaign time. So they may not pay as much attention to it, but it still helps. And you're studying the night sky brightness. And that's what their website looks like. So you'd make your SciStarter account first on scistarter.org/NLM, and then you'd head over to Globe at Night. And when you submit, as long as you put your SciStarter username in the appropriate box, everything tracks in the back end. And one tip with Globe at Night is you have to let your eyes adjust first before you send your observations in. So, and they're really clear about this in the instructions, like how long you need to wait before you can make your observations. So maybe bring a friend when you're observing for Globe at Night. It's always good to have a buddy because you'll have to hang out for a little bit, about 15 minutes or so before your eyes adjust. You find the constellation of the month. So for the campaign we just finished, it was Leo. And you indicate what stars in Leo that you're able to see. And then you go to Globe at Night to report your measurements. As you heard in the video, you enter the date, time, and location. So you could potentially bring a data sheet. You can't see it, my Zoom background's eating it, but you could write everything down and then come back and contribute later and enter all your data. So you don't have to bring your phone with you if you don't want to, but you could also bring your phone with you and enter it on your phone. And you say when and where you did it. You choose a star chart. So you choose the star chart that looks most closely to what you saw in your constellation. So this is the info for April, the star charts for April. More star charts. And you also say, how much cloud cover there was. That's really important data too, because that could be obscuring your view of the particular stars. And then you enter the data. If you don't have a sky quality meter, skip that step. If you do have a sky quality meter, if you've checked it out from the library, for example, then you can do this step. So when you're using, and for those of you who have check out the library kits, this is all in there, so you don't have to feel pressure about writing all this down if you're planning on checking out a kit. But you hold it straight above your head, and you click the start button, and the screen will then display the sky brightness per area in astronomer units. So you may not know what this means. I don't really know what this means either, but that's the beauty of citizen science. As long as you follow the instructions, you're able to submit a quality measurement and you're able to help with the research. You don't have to know every single detail to be part of science. And that's why we have people like Bob who educate us, who help enrich our experience of these projects. Because not only do you help the science when you do these projects, you hopefully learn something new. I know for me, I didn't know the names of any constellations before I started doing Globe at Night. So I was kind of learning things along the way while I was participating. And these are some tips from Dr. Walker that she told us earlier this month. And Dr. Walker is the leader of the project. She said, always take measurements more than an hour after sunset. So usually 8 o'clock local time, give or take. Always take measurements when the moon is not up in the night sky. Take measurements when at least the top half of the sky is clear, if not all clear. Never take a measurement directly under a light source. So that street light in my neighborhood, I would not be participating in Globe at Night by that street light. And be as far away from a tree, building, or light as it is high. So try not to have anything blocking your view, if at all possible. And search out the sunrise, sunset, and moon times for your area before you participate so you can time your observations accordingly. So these are the steps again, a simple process. You just follow the steps and you're able to send in a quality measurement. And then you submit. And don't forget, if you have a SciStarter account, which I hope you all do, please make your accounts. You're able to enter your email here and get credit for your contributions in your SciStarter dashboard. And this data really matters. It can be compared over time to find changes and trends. It can be compared to other variables like population density, so we can see, if there's a correlation between the number of people in an area and the amount of light pollution. It is just, you can find dark sky oases. It can monitor ordinance compliance, and it can also be related to animals and plants, human health, safety, a whole host of other issues. This data is useful. The things that you see and you observe in your community, they really matter. So these are the campaign dates. Our next campaign is May 2nd through the 11th in 2021. So mark your calendars now so you can go out and participate. And in the meantime, you can go out and practice until it's the official campaign where they really, really need your data. So in short, that's Globe at Night. We're going to monitor. My challenge to you, this is my call to action to you all, monitor light pollution by observing the night sky, and get started by going to scistarter.org/NLN. I know you're in really good hands with the Waldport Public Library and Sharon and Sue, and you can potentially participate in this project by going outside in your local community or taking a cool trip. You can do it anywhere in the world. That's the beauty of Globe at Night. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to see if there are any other questions or thoughts from folks. Sharon had asked, when's the next campaign? May. So we have the next campaign in May.
So it looks like we'll have to get those kits ready right away.
Yes, it's coming. It's really coming.
I just want to say thank you. And thank you for making this possible for our library and our patrons. And I'm looking forward to this also being a recording so more people will get to enjoy it. And thank you, Bob, for all you do out there and the way you're helping the world. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who came tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Sharon, anything else? Or do you think we're ready to wrap up?
What do you think, Sue?
I can't think of anything else. I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's been a fun month so far, and I think that we're able to, through the grant, purchase a lot of these kits that are going to be a lot of fun in the future.
I have one last question for Bob. Bob, for the sky quality meter, so the number one question I get at SciStarter is people get really scared. They're worried that they'll do something wrong or click a button in the wrong way and have a bad measurement and ruin everything for everyone. What would you say to folks who might be nervous or uncertain about getting started, especially with those sky quality meters?
Well, I think that instruction is the key thing is no moon and having it straight over your head looking towards the zenith with no vegetation like trees, so it has to be done in an open space. But they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty durable. We fumble ours every now and then, so they do hit the ground every now and then. But they do work really well, and the information is excellent. And if you're worried about getting it not correct data, it's doing it later, and so do it like an hour after sunset, and then do it 2 hours after sunset, and see if the numbers change very much. But most likely, as long as it's the sun is down, they're pretty reliable, unless of course the fog rolls in and the clouds roll in, that kind of thing. But they do very well. They're a very simple device.
I never heard that tip before about doing it 2 hours after sunset. I'm gonna write that down and save it for future presentations. I'll do that myself.
Yeah, they work good. I mean, you can do it at various times and compare. What we would consider transparent skies change over from 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. So the sky can deteriorate, or it can, like for us, like last night, it was really bad at the beginning and then it got really clear. So transparency is what really that meter is reading, is how well it can see the stars.
So just as a shout out for those who like to figure things out through a book like I do, this book has like a basic overview of most of the projects, including Globe at Night. So it has a little information there, but the information you got tonight, especially about how to use these and when to do it, that's extremely important, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much. It's going to help make this project go very well, and we'll be able to answer questions too. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bob, again for educating us, and Sharon and Sue, thanks for hosting. I can't wait to see what you all do at your library, so keep me in the loop about all your awesome programs. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.